What's up, dudes and dudettes, and welcome to the updated DK Frost PvP rotation video. I know a lot of you guys were unsatisfied with the last video. Obviously, that rotation is going to be for levels 58 through 83, and once you ding 83, you're going to be doing a new rotation, and 85 rotation is almost the same. This is going to be the 85 rotation. So yeah, it's really good. Frost is amazing in Battlegrounds. Arenas not so much. Frost is good. Frost DKs tend to get bursted down a lot just because they really pump out a lot of damage. But in Battlegrounds, if you have your own personal healer, you can just down the whole team. Frost DKs are extremely amazing. I mean, it's insane how much damage they can put out. And it's a really simple rotation. I mean, like 4 or 5 button rotation with your cooldowns, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, basically, there's been changes since 4.2. Obliterate is not so strong anymore. I mean, it still hits pretty high, but Frost Strike is hitting way higher, comparatively when you have the Killing Machine proc. Mostly, I would just use Obliterate only when you're fighting Clothies and only when you have Killing Machine. The only other reason I would use Obliterate is if I do not have any Runic Power and I have a Killing Machine proc that's about to run out, because you don't want to waste a Killing Machine proc. That's pretty much the #1 thing. If you're interested about the talents and glyphs, check out the other video. Link will be in the description. It's the same for 58 as it is for 85. There is no changes. Basically, I do keep the Obliterate glyph. Most people take it out and use the Death Coil glyph, my bad. That basically increases the healing or damage by Death Coil. Personally, I feel that's not necessary. I mean, personally, you can use Lichborn, every 2 minutes, and when you heal with Lichborn, you're not going to get that much unless you have full Runic Power, and even healing that much more, it's going to add about 1k health each Death Coil use, and for me, that's not as significant as 20% more Obliterate damage, because when you crit on a Clothy with Obliterate, you can hit upwards of 45k, I've seen. That's my cat, just by the way. But yeah, so basically Obliterate is only used in special circumstances. It only costs 1 Frost Rune, so it's not that hard to pull out, if you're fighting. So yeah, basically you're going to want to come into the battle. You have 2 Death Runes, 2 Frost Runes, and 2 Unholy Runes. Basically your Unholy Runes are going to be used for Necrotic Strike. Necrotic Strike basically absorbs the heals and slows their casting time. It also does 100% or 110% of the weapon damage, which isn't that big of a deal. It's mostly used to kind of screw with healers, and you want to save it. You want to save your Unholy Runes, so if you're fighting a target and then the guy gets a healer on him, you're going to want to use those on the healer. Also, if you're just straight up fighting a healer, I'd use all 4 Unholy and then 2 Death Runes on the healer, so you can absorb around 30k heals. So you can maybe heal down him faster, so he can't heal. Also, it's going to be a slower casting time, so you're obviously going to screw with him that way. So yeah, say you're fighting a DPS. We'll start off with the DPS kind of specifics first. I recommend key binding anti-magic shield to F key if you're using WASD, and then key binding the Strangulate to the R key, and key binding Mind Freeze to the C key. Now these are going to allow you to basically quickly press while you're fighting. If you memorize this area, I put them down here. You can just go under game options, then go to key binding, and it's the last tab down here at the bottom. It'll say extra bar. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, extra multi-action bar bindings. Now, bottom left action bar, button 1, obviously F, number 2, R, and number 3, C. Now, you can see if you look down at your keyboard, they curve around the WASD. Now, when I use my left hand for the WASD and my right hand on the mouse, I'm able to quickly press those without drastically shifting my hand to another part of the keyboard, allowing you to quickly, press it when you're in a fighting circumstance. So, like, quickly F. Anti-magic shield, you got 7 seconds of basic no magic damage. It's really good to pop when you see a mage hop into the fight, because they're going to be bursting really fast right in the beginning and then slowing down towards the end as you hit on them harder. Now, Mind Freeze is necessary because every 10 seconds you can interrupt and slow the casting time by 40%, and that's really, really, really good to, screw with casters and even maybe DPS or like druids if they're trying to cast quickly interrupt, especially healers. You can totally mess with them, interrupt them, and then necrotic strike and interrupt, and they won't have any heals off within a 10-second period, which allows you and your team to burst them down, which is really amazing. Now, basically, now we're going to start into the melee DPS. Say you're fighting that person. You're going to want to come in with either, if they're on a mount, you're going to want to Chains of Ice, then Howling Blast, Howling Blast, Howling Blast, 3 Howling Blasts. This is going to create a large amount of runic power for you. Come in with 2 Necrotic Strikes, and then right when you get Killing Machine, you're going to want to Rune Strike, and then continue Rune Striking. Every time you have Frost Runes, dump it, get some more, and then every time you can Necrotic Strike, use it, and basically just keep depleting all your runes, and continue in this order. Now you can add your own flare, you can run around it, do some crazy stuff, jump, whatever. I'm actually playing with only one hand right now, so you know, it's really easy to just do. If they're going to run away, obviously you can just Chains of Ice them. It only takes 1 Frost Rune, continue Rune Striking. You really shouldn't have a problem. See, 15k, you can do some awesome burst damage. 17k, this is a really crazy amount of damage you can do. It's really simple too, you know, and it'll hit multiple targets with the Howling Blast. And yeah, so it's pretty simple. I mean, basically, main things are Necrotic Strike, Frozen or Frost Strike, and then Howling Blast. That'll really put out some much damage. And you can see there that Killing Machine procced a lot. I mean, it was going like every second, which is insane. And then also, if say you're getting attacked really heavy by another DK warrior or a pally, you can always Chains of Ice them, walk away, and start kiting them. Using Howling Blast and Death Coil. It's really good to do this. I do this a lot in Battlegrounds to, get them down to about my health level and then come back at them. By then I'll probably have another Killing Machine proc and I can hit them really hard right in the beginning. It's really good to take out people that way. I mean, extremely simple, and like I said, you can use the Chains of Ice. I do have extra bars up here. It's an add-on. I really recommend you guys get it and put this spells in this order, and also use Ice HUD to move your runes so you can see which ones are up, and also make another bar down here. This is kind of my interrupt bar with Strangulate and Mind Freeze so I can see if it's on cooldown or not. Now, say you're fighting a caster. Necrotic Strike not only, like I said, absorbs the amount of healing, it actually slows down their casting time by 30% for 10 seconds. Or until the full amount is healed. So basically, for that fight, if they're ranged, range away, you're gonna want to come in with obviously your Howling Blast. I would save 3 1 Death Rune and 3 Unholy, and come in with 3 Necrotic Strikes, and then just repeat the same pattern. It's really simple. Basically, if you're fighting casters, you just want more Necrotic Strikes on them because it'll slow their casting time and absorb more heals. Especially if you're fighting healers, you're just going to want to delegate all 4 Necrotic Strike runes to the Necrotic Strike so you can get it on them. Now with healers, say you're like fighting and you're just fighting along and they're trying to run away or whatever, but you end up getting the Killing Machine proc. Now this is when you're going to want to use Obliterate. Now Obliterate, I'll see if I can get an example for you guys. You saw there that my Rune Strike hit about a 19k. Now let's see, Obliterate, it's going to hit around, a 32k. Now that's a really high amount of damage, and keep in mind that these targets are way lower level than I am, but it's kind of giving you guys the circumstance of a healer's, health and armor compared to a plate wearer's. Now it's gonna hit almost double than Rune Strike. I have personally hit with a really bad weapon, Rune Strikes of 32k. I think my highest Necrotic Strike so far is a 37k on a player. They have both cloth. You can obviously see though that the Necrotic Strike hits more, or the Obliterate hits more. Now, if you want to do even more damage, you're going to want to do Outbreak on the target, which diseases them. If you're going to have 3 or 4 diseases on them, the Obliterate's going to hit even more, up to a 29k, because it adds an additional 18% per disease. Now, this is obviously way immensely better than, just quickly blowing your Obliterate. See, 31k, and obviously the Frost Strike is going to hit lower because it's only 143% of your weapon damage compared to everything else. Another big tip is you guys want to make sure you never let your runic power get maxed out. You never want to get it 130 out of 130 because that's just wasting, and you always want to make sure you blow just Frost Strikes whenever you can. Really, with this rotation, you'll never have a point where you're not casting something. You'll always be just spamming buttons and everything. If you're fighting a big group or certain mobs, make sure that you can use Ice Band 4 to increase your damage resistance by 20%, and then also Pillar of Frost, which basically increases your strength by 20%. These are really good things to use if you're fighting a target that's higher gear than you or higher level than you and everything like that. I also recommend using Empowered Runic Weapon is good for if you want to really power a guy down. You can get off like 12 possible spells in like 5 seconds, really fast. Especially if you use your cooldowns and everything, it's going to be really high amount of damage. I only recommend Raise Dead for when you have enough runic power to sacrifice it, because it's 25% of your health and you can instantly just click on both of them and quickly summon and sacrifice your ghoul, returning 25% of your health. You can also Lichborn and Death Coil yourself. Death Coil is costing 40 runic power in Frost though, so it's gonna heal you less than Unholy, but it is a good source of healing yourself back to full health. You can see Obliterates do hit a bit higher than Frost Strike. I'm not saying use Obliterate though. Remember what I said, only use it on cloth targets and if they have no shield on, because if you just use it on them, it's going to waste a Frost Rune, and you need these Frost Runes for Chains of Ice or Howling Blast, which hit a lot. Now, Howling Blast can dump up to 18k damage on a ranged target, which is really good. I mean, I just hit a 19k there with the Howling Blast, which is insane. I mean, it can hit upwards more than the Frost Strike alone. So make sure you have enough runes to cast it occasionally, and also if you have the Glyph of Howling Blast, it'll apply the Frost Fever to them, decreasing their speed by 50%, which is really good for catching up to targets, and then you could just Death Grip and you're pretty much good to go. I hope you guys enjoyed my basic thing. This is really tips I do and what I use in Battlegrounds, and I'm always usually top 5 DPS and KBs overall. So I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you guys leave a rating, a like, and please favorite and share it around. This is a good way for you guys to get used to PvPing with Frost and doing a high amount of damage. I'm going to be doing an Unholy video when I get into Arena, but I definitely recommend you guys practice this a lot and stuff like that. If you have any tips or anything else you'd like to share with the community, make sure you comment. And then make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, youtube.com/lmaoitsmichael. And if you like live streams, please check out twitch.tv/lmaoitsmichael. So I hope you guys have a nice day, and peace out.